Good day, fellow freelancers. My name is Telrik and I am back. And today I have an Anthem weapon guide video for your viewing pleasure. The Cataclysm event is finishing its run in just the next week or so, and right now, Anthem is probably in the best condition I've ever seen it. I can honestly say I've gotten sucked back into this game, and I'm really enjoying myself. But I'm not here to talk about the state of the game. Let's get to weapons. I've delayed putting this video out for several months because I was having a hard time acquiring all the masterwork and legendary weapons available in the game. Anthem's RNG can be cruel at times. But finally, I have accomplished that goal, and just as we have 3 new weapon types being added to the game. So let's do a quick rundown of the weapons available to us in Anthem. We have heavy pistols, machine pistols, shotguns, assault rifles, marksman rifles, light machine guns, sniper rifles, autocannons, grenade launchers, and the 3 new types of weapons being introduced to the Cataclysm are pulse accelerators, volt casters, and blade slingers. So this video is to give you a guide as to the best weapon, in my personal opinion, for each javelin type. Now, don't get me wrong, there really isn't a bad weapon in the game, even if you get a weapon that isn't on this list, but it has an amazing set of inscriptions. It's still going to be a great weapon. But this is my choice of weapons that synergizes best with each javelin. Plus, my favorite weapon from the Cataclysm, which will be our honorable mention. And the 6th and final weapon in this list will be the MVP weapon that I think is great for any javelin or any build. Now, one small note. As of this video, there is one weapon in Anthem, Jar's Wrath, that is without a doubt the absolute best weapon in the game, because it is broken. I've tested it, and it does an insane amount of damage that is literally quite staggering. And because I believe it is well and truly broken, and I also believe BioWare will probably nerf the gun, it is not included in this list I've compiled today. So, now that I've cleared that up, if you want to just skip the rest of this video and use Jar's Wrath, go ahead, be my guest. But if you want to stick around and see what is on my list of best weapons, hey, here we go. To kick off this list, let's first go to the Interceptor. This honestly was the most difficult choice to make for this list. And after a lot of testing, I finally landed on what I think is the best weapon for the Interceptor Javelin. And my choice is Rolling Carnage. Power perk is Scout's Advantage. Dashing increases this weapon's damage by 83.3% for 20 seconds. Stacks to 3. Rolling Carnage is my choice for the Interceptor because it has the Scout's Advantage as its power perk. The Interceptor is the lightest but fastest moving javelin in the game. It's the only javelin with the ability to rapidly dash around a combat zone up to 3 times in rapid succession. The Interceptor is a ninja, and the Rolling Carnage takes full advantage of that ninja capability. Its power perk, Scout's Advantage, is only going to be used to its fullest by a dashing Interceptor, as the combined damage stack after 3 dashes gives the weapon a whopping 250% damage bonus. With the quick movement speed of the Interceptor, keeping that 250% damage bonus is actually quite easy, and it allows you to go from target to target dealing rapid chunks of damage. Once you figure out the synergy that the power perk has with the Interceptor, the weapon actually becomes quite fun and quite enjoyable to use. Now, there is a large drawback. The weapon is a shotgun, which requires you to be at point blank range for full damage potential. If you're farther than, say, 12 feet, which is about 6 meters, from your target, the damage fall off is substantial. But if you use the Rolling Carnage as a guerrilla type weapon, rapid closure, put in big damage, and then dash out to hit a different target, the synergy between the Interceptor and Rolling Carnage cannot be ignored. If you can get a god roll on this gun, I'd highly recommend you putting it on your Interceptor and having fun with it. Let's go to the second hardest pick for me, and that was finding the best weapon for the Ranger, the Venerable Ranger. There's a ton of good candidates for this spot, but in the end, I decided on Rowner's Blaze. Power perk, ignites the target while on a hit streak. Hey, an assault rifle! And this was a tough choice, to be really honest. But the Ranger really lends itself to some super fun setups for creating combos. And as we all know, getting those combos in Anthem is really the best way to maximize your damage output in the game. With a Ranger, you have multiple grenade options, laser beams, venom darts, the list goes on. But if you use the Rowner's Blaze as your primary weapon, this allows you to prime pretty much any target you put your sights in. Quick 5 hits, drop a grenade or use your launcher, and boom, combo! The extra bonus besides priming the target is that using fire as the priming agent does damage over time. So even if you don't finish off your target with a combo, the target is going to continue taking damage from just having been ignited by the blaze. Large targets, small targets, this gun is great, and I mean great, for unshielded targets. But that is the weapon's one big drawback. Against targets with shields, it isn't going to do a whole lot. The shields are going to negate the effectiveness of the weapon, so don't be expecting to take on a bunch of Valkyries and think you are going to win a quick fight. Once those shields are out of your way though, the Blaze is going to provide you with combo options for days. So, in my opinion, the Rowner's Blaze combined with your Ranger is a stunning win-win combo. And yes, pun intended. The third javelin on our list is the Storm. And this weapon choice was almost too easy. There are several good choices out there, don't misunderstand me, but one in particular really stands out. Using the Storm Javelin, I highly recommend Avenging Herald. Power perk, Raptor's Deadeye. Hovering increases weapon damage by 200%. The Storm is the king of the hover in Anthem. If there's one thing you want to be doing with your Storm, is to get high up on the battlefield and rain down death and destruction. The Avenging Herald heavy pistol fits that profile perfectly. The Avenging Herald is a hard-hitting heavy pistol with an already very good damage capability. Even if you're on the ground using this weapon, you're going to be doing serious DPS. But its power perk, Raptor's Deadeye, takes its already solid damage output to the next level. A 200% increase in damage during hover makes the weapon a beast against any target you encounter. You have the capability of one-shotting a lot of small adds and knocking out larger targets in rapid time. The weapon is also usable by your Interceptor and Ranger, but the Storm Javelin with its lengthy hover time utilizes the power perk to its best potential. The one drawback to the weapon is its small magazine size of only 9 rounds. So look for a good roll that negates that issue if at all possible. The Storm itself, though, also helps mitigate this drawback, as your ability to blink out of harm's way or stay at high altitude will give you plenty of time to reload. So, when it comes to the Storm Javelin, my go-to weapon is Avenging Herald. Our fourth javelin, and my personal favorite, the Colossus. The heavy hitter in Anthem is unique in that 2 categories of weapons are exclusively available to it: autocannons and grenade launchers. So, obviously, we have to pick the best Colossus weapon from one of those 2 categories. So, for the big boy, my favorite javelin, here is my favorite weapon in all of Anthem. Endless Siege. Power perk. Base magazine size is increased by 100%, and base damage is increased by 100%. Straight up, Endless Siege lives up to its name. The weapon is a torrent type autocannon, but its power perk doubles both the weapon's magazine and damage output. Then, on top of that number, if you can get a good roll on your inscriptions to increase damage output and magazine size even further, you're looking at a weapon that can have somewhere in the vicinity of 400% plus damage capability. The weapon is a monster of continuous damage, spitting out bullets at a rate of 900 rounds per minute. And if you pick your spots correctly and you walk your Colossus over ammo packs as you're firing the weapon, you can spit out rounds almost non-stop. The weapon's drawbacks are the drawbacks all autocannons have: spool up time, fire interruption from enemy melee hits, and of course the reload. But with a little practice, these drawbacks can be mitigated. I personally only have a masterwork version of this weapon, and I hardly ever take it off my primary Colossus build. I love it that much. The weapon is so much fun to use, and it fits the Colossus build perfectly. BioWare, please drop me a lemony version of this weapon. I am begging you. But in all seriousness, freelancers, this is, in my opinion, a dealer of death, and is the best weapon for your Colossus, hands down. Let's move on to our last 2 weapons. Both of these final weapons are amazing choices for any javelin you are using. I routinely use these weapons in combination with the weapons I've already listed, and you can't really go wrong with either of these guns. So to start that off, let's look at our honorable mention and my favorite weapon from the Cataclysm. Rise's Ripper. Power perk: fires a barbed blade that inflicts ongoing shrapnel damage. Imagine taking the rotary saw you own out of your garage, spring-loading it to fire its blades, and then when you hit something with the blade just keeps turning inside whatever it's lodged in and continues to do damage. That's the Ripper for you. The Ripper is straight up deadly. Whether your target is a small, low-life Scar, a powerful Valkyrie, or the final boss of a stronghold, the Ripper doesn't care. Hit the target with a blade, and the blade will do 3 more turns of damage. This isn't just straight damage though. No. If you get a critical hit with the blade will continue to do critical damage. And this is especially noticeable with enemies with large hitboxes such as Vara or a stronghold boss. The weapon's drawback though is its small magazine size, which is very small. It's a mere 3 shots. But the amount of damage you're dealing with those 3 shots is, in my opinion, completely worth equipping it on your javelin builds. Rise's Ripper truly lives up to its name and has landed itself in my top 3 choices of weapons in Anthem. And if you end up with a god roll, the weapon just annihilates target after target after target. So, if you can get your hands on this weapon, I highly recommend you putting it on a javelin as a permanent build and going to town with it. The Rise's Ripper is a wonderful choice for any javelin. Our 6th and final weapon, the winner of the Best Overall Weapon Award, is Thunderbolt of Yevgenia. Power perk has a 33% chance to deal large electrical damage. The Thunderbolt. For starters, that's just an awesome name. But getting into the details of the weapon, the rifle is a DMR. Now, DMRs in Anthem aren't the most powerful or shiny weapons in the game. The Thunderbolt is an upgraded scout-type DMR with fairly solid damage output. But where the Thunderbolt shines is the power perk. A 33% chance to deal large electrical damage may not sound like a lot, but this rifle does not mess around. The electrical damage comes in the form of a lightning bolt from the sky that does roughly in the range of 300 to 400% more damage than the bullet that left the barrel of the gun. And that 33% chance to get that lightning bolt to fall from the sky, yeah, actually it sure feels more like 40 to 50%. It's fairly frequent. Against any target, this weapon is solid. It especially comes in handy against shielded targets, such as Scar Scouts or Valkyries. And that electrical damage will zap the shields off the target you're hitting. It is amazingly effective. Speaking of shielded targets, if you're facing off against a Scar Enforcer and the bullet is doing 0 damage because your shots are hitting its giant Colossus type shield, that does not stop the lightning bolt from proccing and doing its own elemental damage in large chunks. I really cannot find a downside to this weapon, and I have used it multiple times to get myself out of scrapes where I had no teammates to help me. It is compatible with all 4 javelins and works well with pretty much any build that you put together. Without a doubt, if there is one weapon above all the others in Anthem that is a must-have, it's the Thunderbolt. So there you have it. That's my list of recommended weapons for your javelins. If you have a weapon choice I missed that you prefer, leave a comment below and let me know about it. Or if you have a weapon you want me to review, let me know and I'll do a deeper dive into that weapon. As always, my name is Telrik, and I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time.